Good morning, everyone. Treasure Troller here from the partially mask-wearing militant state of Michigan, where we had more FBI agents and paid informants than we did actual conspirators in the plot to kidnap our governor and dictator, Gretchen Whitmer. And I think I have a vlog that I need to post. I just thought of that, from our Secretary of State, who believes she was, through sources, unnamed sources, another potential victim. Haven't heard anything much about it since. Alright, usually I try to keep these short. I'm going to apologize early because this one might go a little bit longer than what my normal ones are. I thought about this one for a little bit. This is truly one of the more just conscious stream ride home from work vlogs I've done in a while. I haven't really, this is really kind of opinion-based stuff. So, let's get into it. It's just my opinion once again. So the first thing on the Texas shooting, I'm just really waiting to see, like, officially. I mean, I'm not really digging into this, so I'm not going to have anything to say about it. It was a tragedy. It's just an uncalled for event. What I would want to know is how we got in the building. Because some people are saying, he just basically crashed the vehicle and kind of walked into the building. And I find that a little hard to believe. I know that the schools in my school district are all locked down. You cannot just, walk up to the school and open the door and walk in. Those days are over. You have to ring a bell or a buzzer, and they come to the door. And not only that, they've got these locks equipped at all the classrooms, so once they kind of hit the trigger, you can't get in. So I just find it, after some of these shootings, that there's still this ability to get in. Now, I don't know that much about the Michigan one. But anyways, that was all I really wanted to say as far as on that. But of course, what's always going around is how to prevent them and how to stop them. And they try to blame the gun lobby, and they try to blame guns, and it's not that. And they've made a little attempt at, well, you have to register or kind of fill out a questionnaire to buy a gun. And I mean, a few years ago I went in and I bought a rifle to coyote hunt, and I had to go through all the questionnaire online. So there's already these background checks that are being done. Then they want to talk about mental health. Well, I worked in the mental health area for a number of years in a psychiatric unit. And the people that are, what it looks like to me, or it seems to me, is some of the people that have had some type of treatment are those that are kind of dealing maybe like on the depression, anxiety type level, where it's more of a passages type treatment center, in a sense, where you're taught coping skills, possibly put on medication, or getting your medications leveled out to a therapeutic level. These are people a lot of times that are more suicidal. I've never ran into someone that expressed any type of desire to harm themselves and many others, which may be for the mental health area to start cluing more into some of the younger people and working more with them on a level of coping and the type of thoughts and desires that they may have. So, but as far as mental health, it's a lot of trying to cope, help them learn to cope, and they may get a week or 10 days safe place, and if they don't want to use the skills that they've been taught and they get back in the same type of environment that they came from, the results aren't going to be much different. And a lot of times they may get back on a therapeutic level with medication, but they don't necessarily like the medication, and then they self-medicate. Alcohol, illicit drugs, whatnot. I'm not sure there's a real clear answer, because I think there's just a lot of broken people out there, and we're all, and it doesn't matter. I guess even eating disorder, I think a lot of us are broken in a lot of different ways, and we're constantly being told how we should think and how we should be and how accepting we should be, and if we're not, we're basically shamed. And I mean, there's other people that dress differently and get shamed as well. So it's not a right or left issue. I just think that sometimes we exploit these areas that these broken areas in individuals, and they feel cornered and they lash out. I guess now that I'm thinking about it, maybe like I said, maybe the younger kids, maybe the younger individuals under 21 or something like that need a much more extensive psychiatric evaluation than what they're given. A lot more outpatient as well. The other thing was Bruce Willis and his retirement due to aphasia. I really, really feel sorry for Bruce Willis and his family. It is as difficult an illness or a condition as it is physically. Mentally, it's just as bad and maybe even worse. Just looking at a couple of pictures of Mr. Willis, aphasia comes on in many different ways. One way is having strokes, and maybe a set of small mini strokes, and there was some drooping that I may have seen in a couple of his pictures with his lip, which possibly he could have possibly had a couple of mini strokes. I'm not going to say he did, but mini strokes can bring this on. Dementia can. But like they've talked about in the reports, it's very difficult to talk. It's almost like they know what they're saying, but it comes out very garbled, and it's difficult to understand, and you have to ask them to repeat it, and maybe you don't understand it the second or third time, and then they just get frustrated and say forget it. And they kind of know that whenever they want to talk or say something, they know it's going to be a difficult process. It's very difficult. It's a very difficult condition, and I feel bad for him. My father had this in his later stages, and What also can happen, they've talked about having a speech pathologist come in and help him, which, you know, I think for all intent and purposes, Bruce is a fairly young guy, and there may be some progress that can be made. But when they're talking about cognitive abilities as well. But the one thing that worries me for him in this condition is they're talking about his speech, but it also affects swallowing, or it can affect swallowing. And once it affects swallowing, then you are put on a G-tube, and you are fed through a G-tube. It's just a nasty condition. It's just, it's heartbreaking. It's, you know, my dad struggled with it, and, you know, it was difficult. You know, my son was able to understand everything my father said. I don't know how he was able to do it, but he understood everything. But it's a very, very devastating condition. So I hope the best for Mr. Willis and his family. I don't really, you know, I saw one CNN thing about things getting better, and I don't really. I think you can stabilize things, and like I said, he's a younger guy, so maybe things will work out for him. I certainly hope they do. But I also have seen when things don't work out well, what can happen. So I hope he gets better. Leads a pretty good life. There's still a lot of life. It's not it's by no means is it a death sentence. But it is something that's very difficult to live with. So there's your mental health for the day. So with that, this is Treasure Troller saying aloha and good day.